Well, I'm just going to make a short video here. My mother and my sister were doing some baking recently, and they were making nut roll, and they were having trouble getting the dough to rise correctly. So I'm actually making pizza today, but what we're going to do is I'm just going to make a short video to show them how I proof the yeast and see if that helps them any. So, first thing is I like to use Fleischmann's yeast. You can get it in the packets or you can get it in the jar. Now the recipe that I'm using today says to use 2 packets of yeast. So first thing I like to do is I take my mixing bowl and I run it under warm water just to get it warm, you know. Metal bowls are usually cold, so just to warm it up a little bit. And then you get 2 cups of warm water, and by warm I mean 80 to 90 degrees. You don't want it to be much over 90 degrees because the heat can kill the yeast. So then you want to take the 2 cups of water and mix in, let's see, 2 tablespoons of sugar, which I almost forgot to do. Let me grab my tablespoon. Two tablespoons of sugar, put it in the water. I'm just going to take a little whisk and I'm just going to give it a stir to dissolve the sugar. And then I'm going to take the 2 packs of yeast, which I've already opened here. I'm just going to dump them in and give it a quick 2 stir with the whisk. And I'll show you what that looks like. All right, what it looks like is we just have brown water, basically. So we're just gonna leave that set, and it's gonna form a sponge on top. I will time it and let you know how long that looks, and then we'll take a look at it, or how long that takes, I mean, and we'll take a look at it, show you what it looks like. Okay, I let that go for about 10 minutes or so. I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of spongy now on top. Okay, so while that was going, I sifted my flour. This recipe calls for 4 1/4 cups of bread flour. I used 4 cups, and I used 1/4 cup of semolina, which is good if you're making pizza. So now we're just gonna mix all that together and put it in a bowl and just put a little olive oil in the bowl and over the top of the dough to keep it from drying out. And then I'll put a white rag on top of it. And when it's ready to go, I'll show you what we're gonna do next. Okay, we've got our dough. I put it in this bowl. I don't know if you can tell, it's got olive oil on it, just to keep it from drying out. I'm gonna take my white cloth and just cover the bowl. There. So, now what you wanna do is put this somewhere that's about 80 degrees for about 2 hours. It says 1.5 hours to 2 hours. I always do 2 hours. Now the problem is, where are you going to find something that's 80 degrees? The problem is that most of the time, especially if you're baking in the winter, and a lot of this is, you know, Christmas baking, or even in the summer here, the house is air conditioned at, you know, 70 degrees. So what do you do for 80 degrees? Well, what I like to do is I turn my oven on the lowest temperature that it'll go, and I preheat it for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes tops, but I think I usually do 1.5 minutes. And then I turn it off and open the door and just let the heat equalize for about 30 seconds. And then I just put the dough in the oven and let it set. So we're gonna do that, and we will check it in 2 hours, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, it has been 1 hour and 45 minutes, It kind of looks like things are done, but I'm going to grab it here and we will take a look at it, see what it looks like. All right, well, let's grab this and see how we came out. It's looking pretty good. So what we have here is a completely full bowl of dough. So from here you just follow your recipe. I don't know if you double rise it for nut rolls, I can't remember. For pizza, what I do is I punch it down and then I spread it out on my pizza pans over here, which I grease. And then once it's actually about halfway spreading it out, sometimes it gets a little springy, so I just let it set like 10 minutes and then stretch it the rest of the way out. Once it's stretched the rest of the way out, I cover it back up and let it set for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then I put the toppings on it, pop it in the oven, and do that at 500 degrees for about 11 minutes, and then we'll take a look at the final product. Looks like now. We spread it into the pan. It's all ready to go. We will put the toppings on and toss it in the oven, and I'll show you what the finished product looks like. All right, well, here's the first one. Anne doesn't really like tomato sauce on her pizza, so this one is with Alfredo sauce, hamburger, olives, and green pepper. Mine is in the oven still, and I'll give you a shot of that here shortly. All right, here we go. I misspoke on Anne's earlier. That was sausage, not hamburger, of course. And here's mine with a little mozzarella, olives, pepperoni, pepper, and I'll probably put some hot peppers on it because I forgot to cut any before we cooked it. So anyway, I hope this helps you with getting your dough to rise, and talk to you soon.